Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, the state intends to rely on 30 witnesses, 42 witness statements, and a series of forensic reports in its prosecution of Kaia, who appeared virtually before Master Nazira Ali in the Tobago police station on Wednesday. Sealy, 25, is charged with the manslaughter of Joshua Samaru and a series of firearm-related offenses arising out of the fatal police shooting at the corner of College Road and Bassey Street, Extension St. Augustine, on January 20th. She's accused of unlawfully killing Samaru and shooting at 3 police officers, Quincy Simon, Darrell Bartholomew, and Gary Duncan. When did that shooting take place? Because it definitely can't be when during what we saw at the ending after the car crashed. Definitely can't be then. Cannot be what we saw in the video, because everyone that is not politically blind by the UNC and the TTPS right now knows for a fact that the only people shooting at that point in time were the police officers. And that the video, the zoomed up video that was made, I don't know whether it's by the TTPS or some UNC politician, the video that shows the glass shattering at the back, at the side glass. When you watch the original video, you can see clearly that bullet entered there and exited the front windscreen. Everybody knows that. There's also forensic analysis about, from that video that also proves that the gunshot entered through the back and exited through the windscreen to the front. But you don't need to be an expert to know that. You can see it. You can watch the video and you can clearly see that you saw the explosion. As a matter of fact, you saw the explosion to the front before you even saw the crack to the back. That's to tell you. That's to tell you, because it passed through so quickly, but it ended up hitting to the front, and it caused that kind of impact. And you saw when it is, you see a whole set of dust, a cloud of dust outside afterwards due to the impact from the bullet. And then people want to bother that Kaia Sealy was turning around while police shooting it. Kaia Sealy turned around like a hero, like she in some kind of Western movie, and was shooting at the police. She sustained injuries to her back because she was crouching and hiding, trying to prevent herself from getting killed. But people are saying that she was shooting at the police. Make it make sense now, people. Make it make sense. She's accused of unlawfully killing Samaru. 19 shots by police officers into Joshua Samaru's car. But she killed Samaru. Unlawfully killing Samaru and shooting at 3 police officers, as I said before. When? Because it can't be when the vehicle crashed. Quincy Simon, Darrell Bartholomew, and Gary Duncan. She also faces charges of possessing a Glock pistol, possessing 2 rounds of 9mm ammunition, possessing a firearm to endanger life, and discharging a firearm within 40 meters of a public road. Master Ali granted Sealy bail in the sum of $700,000 with 1 surety. Sealy's appearance before the court came within hours of her returning to Trinidad from Panama. She was arrested upon her arrival at the Piarco International Airport and then taken to the Aruca police station. And that wasn't the arrangement from what her lawyer said. She came back willingly, and therefore she was supposed to turn herself in at the police station. But it's all about propaganda. It's all about trying to paint a picture as though this is a fugitive that we are going to capture. Woo! And make all the UNC hardcore supporters ball. Amen! Great is the TTPS. State prosecutor Anthony Jacob told the court that the prosecution would rely on 30 witnesses and 42 witness statements, along with several exhibits, including certificates of analysis, toxicology reports, a post-mortem report, and other physical evidence. Before I go on, you all remember how many times Ian Allen ended up conducting second autopsies, because the autopsy conducted by the state ended up being incorrect. You all can remember that? All right then. I'm just reminding you all. I'm reminding you all. Do not just fall for whatever you hear from that autopsy results, Because I'm telling you, I remember it over and over again, and people could go back and they could ask Ian Allen himself. He ended up, because family requested it, he ended up getting his own experts to be able to conduct autopsies in the past. And it ended up debunking what was claimed in the initial reports, in the initial autopsy results. All right, then. Jacob also requested an intimate DNA sample from Seeley, but she declined to provide one on the advice of her attorneys. Defense attorney Larry Williams, who appeared with attorney Fayola Sandy, questioned the purpose of obtaining the DNA sample. What is it to be compared against? Williams asked. Jacob replied that investigators had recovered DNA samples from the vehicle involved in the incident. Williams responded that any DNA recovered would obviously be blood, and argued there was no dispute that Seeley had been inside the vehicle. Everybody knows that she was inside the vehicle. So therefore, everybody knows that something else, they have some other agenda. So why would you need her DNA to compare with blood when there's no issue that she was in the car? Williams submitted, rightfully so, thankfully so. Jacob informed the court that the case file would be sent to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions within the next 30 days for the appointment of state counsel. The prosecution was ordered to serve its witness statements by August 24th, while the defense has up until September 25th to respond. A status hearing has been scheduled for October 8th, with the sufficiency hearing set for October 22nd. During the hearing, Williams also applied for bail, noting that Seeley is the mother of a 5-year-old child and requires periodic travel to Boston, United States for ongoing medical treatment and rehabilitation following the shooting. Yes, people, she wasn't hiding in America. She was there receiving treatment. He argued that Seeley posed no flight risk, saying she had voluntarily returned to Trinidad and Tobago after receiving medical treatment abroad, and would continue to return whenever required by the court. The prosecution did not oppose the bail. She's such a dangerous criminal who shot at police, but the prosecution did not oppose the bail. You see how that making any sense to any of y'all? Jacob said that while the state normally requests the surrender of a defendant's passport in such cases, it would not be taking that application. Why? I'm telling you, not making any sense to any of you except the UNC fanatics right now. Yeah, people that I trusted and admired for so many years, betraying the population because they just love the UNC. Instead, the prosecution asked that it be notified whenever Seeley intends to leave the country. A woman that shot at police, supposedly shot at police officers. They say, no, you're free to go, you know, you're free to go, you're free to go. We trust you. You ever heard about that in the past? Has the TTPS ever allowed individuals who shot at them, attempted to take their life, attempted to harm them, to be able to go away when they're on bail? There are individuals outside here, people, who have been arrested, right? And they have to go and visit the police station probably twice a week, every few days. But yet in this case, a woman who shot at police officers, that's what they're claiming. I don't believe that, but they're saying that she shot at police officers. And firstly, she was never fingerprinted, right? She was never tested for gunshot residue. She was told she was free to go and she was not under criminal investigation. They are claiming that they know that this woman was in the possession of a gun, right? And that she shot at police officers, but only months later, they decided to arrest her for that crime. That making sense to y'all? My response, why didn't they request that she provide DNA months ago? This appears to be yet another attempt by the state to fabricate evidence in order to convict her of a crime that she did not commit. I don't believe that she committed this crime, people. And many of us don't believe that either. She was never fingerprinted or tested for gunshot residue, but all of a sudden they want her DNA. 30 individuals are supposedly witnesses, and yet none of them ever spoke publicly about this tragic incident. Has that ever happened in the history of Trinidad and Tobago before? That so many individuals witness the precious, wonderful, righteous TTPS pursuing these so-called criminals. And these 30 people, not one of them spoke to Ian Allen. Not one of them recorded this video, any videos. Not one of them, as I told you, made any sort of social media post about what they saw. And yet, these police officers were able to get witness accounts from them. I'm making real sense, and real sense, people, real sense. No one tried to reach out to the media or Ian Allen. Telling, I've never heard about this before. This is the first time police officers allowed somebody who shot at them to leave and go away to be able to receive medical treatment, and told them that, no, don't worry, you're not under investigation. This is the first time that they ever probably failed to take fingerprints or test for gunshot residue after knowing. That's what they're saying. They saw her shooting. They saw bullets coming out from the car. And yet, Joshua Samaru's hands were up in the air. Not to mention, after they shot and killed Joshua Samaru, they didn't go after her. You didn't see them go on the other side of the vehicle. You know. They stayed on Joshua Samaru's side and was telling them, open your hand, don't move. Nothing about Kaia Sealy. But she's the one that they are saying shot at them. I guess these are the most disciplined patriots in the whole of TNT. 30 people and not one of them made a social media post. Not one of them. I tell you, they call into Ian Allen or message Ian Allen and say, hey, boss man, yeah, we saw them, we saw them all on the road, and they were speeding away from the police. Not one of them spoke about it on social media. Yeah, only UNC fanatics believe in that right about now. And no, people are not PNM either, because it's PNM that created the TTPS monster to begin with. God will hold all you devils in the TTPS accountable for your actions. Rest assured about that, I'm a person, I believe God, the Bible says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I don't believe in, I will never believe in promoting any sort of justice for mankind except through the courts. I do believe in the court system. I believe in the judicial system. We have a failed judicial system here in Trinidad and Tobago, but I do believe in due process. I do believe in it. But at the end of the day, because of the corrupt TTPS and the corrupt the judicial system that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, justice may not prevail. Justice may not prevail. This woman may end up having to spend time in prison for a crime she did not commit. Especially because there was never a second autopsy, right? There was never a second autopsy. And I don't know what happened to Joshua Samaru's body. I don't know if he was buried, so I don't know if his body can be exhumed. I don't know what kind of information they will be able to get out of him now, even if it is exhumed. So she may end up being framed for this crime. But God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, He will hold all of you punishers in the TTPS accountable for your actions. We all saw the video. None of those officers ran for cover. None of those bullets came from inside the vehicle, people. You were being shot at by Kaia Sealy. That's what you are claiming. While in pursuit of this vehicle. And yet, you didn't stay behind the police cars and say, come out of your vehicles with your hands up. No. As you reach by that corner, you just fly out the vehicles and just started to shoot. That shows that you were afraid of being shot at. That makes any sense, I'm telling you. And then other people are claiming that they were actually being shot at after the car crashed. So nobody ran for cover. Everyone saw Joshua collapse after cops kept shooting at him, even while his hands were in the air. A matter of fact, you watch clearly at the video, correct me if I'm wrong. His hands were up initially, and he started to feel the pain, so his hands went down. But then he realized, but wait, they ain't gonna stop shooting, boy. So he put, after all that agony and pain, from what I remember watching in the video, he put up his hands again. It was in a short space of time. Put up his hands again. And after that, well, they finished the job. After that, they dropped it again, and that was it. Never to raise his hands again, because by then, he was on his way out of this world. So I said everyone saw Joshua collapse after cops kept shooting at him, even while his hands were in the air. Your demons will face God's wrath in due time. Rest assured about that.
She appeared before Master Nazira Ali at the Tunapuna High Court, where she was granted bail in the sum of $700,000 to cover all 9 charges. The matter was adjourned to the 8th of October 2026 for a status hearing. The 9 charges are as follows: manslaughter, 3 counts of shooting with intent, possession of firearm, possession of ammunition, possession of firearm within 40 meters of a street, possession of firearm to endanger life, and possession of ammunition to endanger life.
The Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago, MAT, is calling on Guardian Media, as we call it, well, I call them the Kakash Media Limited, to publicly address serious allegations of ethical compromise following the resignation of senior investigative journalist Joshua Simangal. In a release issued yesterday, MAT expressed deep concern over the circumstances surrounding Simangal's departure, in which he cited compromised editorial independence and ethical failings as his reasons for leaving the organization. Simangal reportedly stated that he resigned to protect his ethical integrity and moral compass after witnessing situations he believed severely undermined the investigative desk's ability to serve the public interest. We all know CNC3 bias. That's why we call it PNM3 and Kakash Media. But at the end of the day, as I keep telling people, I don't care about politics. So as much as I don't trust mainstream media, I still use them to be able to gather my information or whatsoever. It's still informative. And I don't blindly support the UNC either, just as I stated in my first report here, my initial report here today. Nevertheless, yes, of course, we all know Guardian Media is extremely biased. According to Matt, among the most troubling allegations is the claim that a senior editorial employee engaged in political work ahead of the 2025 general election. I wonder who is that senior employee, babe? I shall call no names because I can't afford, I don't have no court clothes and I can't afford to be able to end up getting sued. Including attending a high-profile political event, contributing to campaign material for a major political party, and allegedly attempting to recruit Simangal for political research and writing. Who is that? Who is that, babe? Senior. All right. Despite these reported activities, the individual was said to have been permitted by newsroom leadership to return to editorial duties after the election. Simangal also alleged the unexplained suppression of several investigative stories he believed met appropriate editorial and legal standards. A view he said was supported by experienced external editors. He further claimed that after raising concerns internally, his performance appraisal scores declined, raising fears of professional retaliation. Matt condemned the silence from GML's management, warning that a lack of transparency in the face of such serious accusations damages not only the reputation of Guardian Media, but the broader media landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. The association stressed that at a time when traditional media faces unprecedented threats from closures and the spread of misinformation on social media, the core pillars of journalism, integrity, independence, and accuracy must be firmly defended. My response: we are living amongst extremely vindictive and deceptive individuals in TNT who are members of the media, law enforcement, the government, yes, people, the government, and definitely the PNM opposition. They are the authors of all this, They are the creators of this evil in here in Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM. UNC only taking advantage of it now, but the foundation was already built. It's times like this when we are reminded that these are the final years before God's judgment pours out upon the earth's people. From a biblical perspective, just like how Amir Safati is seeing it also with Trump's betrayal, we are living in the end times. I don't know how long again. I don't know how many more years before the final 7-year tribulation begins. But I do know we are seeing that it's coming extremely close. I hope that Guardian media will be held accountable for their actions. We all knew how biased they were, but now the truth is being revealed. And you know, all the reports they had last night on the Guardian media, on CNC3, they didn't say nothing about this, though. Nothing. Of course they won't. They never will.
Trinidad and Tobago official weather report for Thursday, June 18, 2026. The weather forecast for Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday, June 18, 2026 indicates partly cloudy conditions changing to periods of showers and isolated thunderstorms with temperatures peaking at 31 degrees Celsius and dropping to a low of 24 degrees Celsius. According to the official outlook from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service, you should expect occasionally cloudy and breezy conditions with periods of light to moderate showers or rain across various areas. There is an active low to medium 30% risk of showers developing into localized heavy downpours or thunder. Expect high moisture levels ranging between 70% and 99% throughout the day. Winds will blow from the east-northeast to east-southeast at speeds of 8 to 40 km per hour. Open waters will experience moderate seas with waves stretching from 1.5 meters to 2.0 meters, while sheltered areas will stay below 1.0 meters but can get occasionally choppy. Sunrise is at 5:40 a.m. and sunset occurs at 6:27 p.m. Due to the tropical humidity, the temperature will feel like 32 degrees Celsius during peak hours. In the event of heavier thundery downpours, brief gusty winds and localized street or flash flooding may occur, so please plan your commute accordingly and exercise caution on the roads.
Regional news now. President Dr. Irfan Ali has signaled that his government will press ahead with necessary changes at the Guyana Sugar Corporation, vowing that investments in the industry must yield concrete results. Exactly, it must, but it's all about management, people. He's not shutting it down like how PNM did here in Trinidad and Tobago. Assessing hundreds gathered at Enmore on Tuesday for the commemoration of the Enmore Martyrs, the president said he has already read the Riot Act to guide Suko's leadership over the corporation's failure to consistently meet production targets. Well, I'm just hoping that even though he's reading that act to them, it doesn't mean that you're going to end up... Please don't do that, because that would be one of the first serious mistakes that you make. You're not usually a leader like that. You usually believe in proper management. Change the management if it's therefore needed to do so, but don't shut down the sugarcane industry like what was done here in Trinidad and Tobago, causing everything to even become more expensive too. Prime Minister opens new Spring Village Bridge in St. Catherine, Jamaica. The structure, built under the government's accelerated bridge program at a cost of $250 million, was officially opened recently by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. It replaces the previous 150-year-old bridge. Now, wow, that's old. Which was closed by the National Works Agency in September 2022 after concerns arose about its structural integrity. This is a project that we consider to be in the national interest, the Prime Minister said, noting the 4 years that it took to complete the project. He said there was need to identify a specialized contractor with appropriate machinery to execute specific technical works. Now, that's where I can't agree with the Prime Minister, but that so much years it took place just to find this expert. Come now, man, that's what you call mediocre performance, but still, I support him as Prime Minister, and I do believe that he's much better than the opposition. Thus far, I think he's doing a reasonably good job, but he needs to up his game. I've said that for many months now. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan, in his remarks noted the importance of the bridge in the daily life of residents. This is an important day for the communities that depend on this corridor. For several years, residents, workers, students, businesses, transport operators had to live with the difficulty of traversing Spring Village without the bridge. So today is not simply the opening of a bridge. It is about restoring connection that matters to daily life, commerce, public safety, and community confidence, he said. Those from Jamaica, I keep saying this a lot recently. I do have some viewers from Jamaica, and I'm thankful for that. I hope it grows. I hope my viewership from Jamaica grows even more. Comment and let me know what you think. What do you think about Andrew Holness's performance as Prime Minister? And are you thankful that this bridge has finally been rebuilt? A new bridge has been built. International news now. President Trump, who thinks he's the king of the world, cracks a joke about America's commitment to defending India. But listen, as long as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is still leading the country, reporter said, can you speak to the defense relationship between India and the United States? Trump says, if anybody attacks that man, we are going to be there. Now, if there's a new leader, I'm not sure about it. If they're attacked and he's the leader, we are going to be there to help. So it's always conditional. Anyone that stoops below him, submits to him, he loves. Anytime you start to oppose him, turns totally against you. Just like Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, because the Prime Minister is saying, no, I'm going to stand up with my people and my country, and I'm going to defend my country. And from the attacks continued attacks from Hezbollah, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to be part of your deal with Iran. Trump has suddenly turned against Benjamin Netanyahu and is insulting him almost constantly now when he's speaking to the mainstream media.
Can you speak to the defense relationship between India and the United States?
I think it's a great relationship. I can tell you this, without having a contract, we don't have a contract. You have to write contract. But if they were attacked, we would be there to help them. How is that? Is that a good statement? Okay, come here, man. If anybody attacks that man, we're going to be there. Now, if there's a new leader, I'm not sure about it. Okay? If there's a new leader, I don't know about that. But if they're attacked and he's the leader, we're going to be there to help.
Israeli right-wing confidence in Trump drops amid Iran talks. Israeli right-wing support for U.S. President Donald Trump has dropped significantly due to recent diplomatic shifts. Basically betrayed Israel and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's throw him under the bus. A poll by the Israel Democracy Institute shows that only 48% of right-wing Jewish Israelis now believe Israel's security is a top priority for Trump. They better wake up, because it's no longer a priority. All Trump cares about is making as much money as possible for America to make America great again, no matter the cost, no matter if you end up putting Israel in danger. So it's down from 70%. This decline in confidence followed Israel being left out of US-led negotiations with Iran. You can believe that? They are the ones that are affected directly by Iran and their proxies like Houthis and in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon. And yet, they were left out of the negotiations with them. Public worry also grew after Trump advised Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against launching a military strike in response to Iranian missiles. America would have never tolerated, but Israel should. How bold-faced can you be? QAnon and Russian Orthodox supporters as well. Consequently, many voters feel sidelined by U.S. policy and doubt that diplomatic talks will end regional threats. But God, people, but God. Read Ezekiel 38. The time is coming, and it has already come, where America has basically abandoned Israel, and therefore Israel is basically now all alone. And now it's only for the other parts of that prophecy to be fulfilled. When the kings of the north, led by Russia, I don't know if it will be Putin, because I don't know if it will be in the next few years, most likely, very possible it will be, will unite with Turkey and Iran and other nations to invade Israel. And God himself will say, okay, that's your plan? Well, I'm going to set a trap for you. I'm going to set bait for you. I'm going to encourage you to come. But when you reach to the borders of Israel, I'm going to utterly destroy you. That is what is going to take place. So people can rejoice. The QAnon far right and the radical jihadist far left can rejoice right now. But at the end of the day, Israel will never be destroyed. Iran will continue to try to get their false prophecy to be fulfilled, but it will never happen. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob stands with Israel. We don't need Trump. We have God on our side.
It's a pleasure to welcome to studio Ari Tatarka, English Director at the Rebor Center and editor of the newsletter It's Noon in Israel. Ari, thank you so much for being here in studio. So there's much concern right now in Israel, not only about this memorandum of understanding between the US and Iran, but specifically about the relationship between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. What insights can you share?
I think it's worth looking at the context. Around 4 or 5 months ago, the plan for Netanyahu's election was basically invite Trump for a victory lap around Israel. Climax being he gets the Israel Prize, and Netanyahu gets a glowing recommendation that he can plaster on every campaign ad until October or September. But now I think that's quite unviable for at least 3 reasons. Number one, I don't think Israel's right now in the mood for a victory lap. Quite frankly, looking at every one of the fronts, it's not exactly the theme that most people are thinking. For a second reason, I think, as we saw from the most recent comments from Donald Trump, I don't think Netanyahu can necessarily rely on Trump to give him that glowing endorsement that would look great. And I think the third reason, and this is also based off recent surveys, is that I don't think that the Israeli electorate would like to see that either necessarily. Recent poll showed that down from 75% to now just 50% of Israeli right-wingers, and this is especially related to Netanyahu's base, actually approve of Trump. So the question for Netanyahu right now is, does he even really want the endorsement, even if Trump would give it?
Well, there are reports to that exact point that it has been changing its campaign for adverts ahead of the elections because that relationship between the US leader and the Israeli leader isn't quite as strong as many would like it to be, and certainly as somebody going for an election, as Mr. Security would like it to be. Does that ring true to you?
I would say that it's certainly accurate. I think Netanyahu's challenge is less going to be how they can frame his relationship to Trump, and also how he can frame the overall outcome of the Iran conflict, and especially in Lebanon. As in, he can look at Trump and say, I have this great relationship. And very likely we're going to see some posturing towards Trump in the next couple of months. But when it comes down to it, I think the facts on the ground are ultimately going to be the determinant. Has Bibi secured Israel's interests in the Trumpian world, or has he failed to do so? And that's really what his electorate is going to ask when it comes to election time.
Many suggesting Gadi Eisenkot could be a future prime minister, Naftali Bennett, Yair Lapid. There are many names that could be a future leader for Israel. The suggestion is, though, and the concern for many is, who can do what is necessary on the world stage? What kind of insights can you share on that front? Is that a major top-of-mind issue for voters as they go to the poll, or are they more concerned not only about security, but the cost of living and just getting through, making ends meet here in this very expensive country?
I would love to tell you that it's going to be about economics, but if I was going to put money on it, I would lose all of that money immediately. If you would like to ask Smotrich, as he said on a recent interview, you don't get half a seat for your economics. And if the finance minister is saying that, I'll trust him. I think when it comes to Eisenkot, if people are really asking how will he present Israel on the world stage, then I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the person I would go to. His grasp of English isn't actually what I would call the best. But still, I think he presents a different kind of image to the world stage. With what Israelis are really looking for in this next election is someone to essentially show what Israel is now, and that is post-October 7th, which may be a more unified Israel, less polarized Israel. Eisenkot may be the choice. But right now, I just think in the opposition, it's not going to be down to who can present best on the world stage, but simply who can face Netanyahu come election time.
Bible quote of the day. John 2:1-12 NIV. On the third day a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied, "My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water," so they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, Everyone brings out the choice wine first and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink, but you have saved the best till now. What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this he went down to Capernaum with his mother and brothers and his disciples. There they stayed for a few days.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.